There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get to the JRC very briefly with short disclaimers and a trigger warning that we're going to go through in a moment. We're trying to get this done early because today, here on the 19th, it is Missouri. And as per usual with Missouri, that means more storms, and this one's supposed to be hitting in the next 2 to 3 hours. And from what I'm being told, looks like a bad one. And although I'm not afraid of a tornado hitting in this area, I don't really feel in the mood for like a final destination death by means of being impaled by a tree. So me and the Mao over there are going to have to hunker down again in the bathroom where there's like no access to any windows. So, folks, short disclaimer is all the material we go over in regards to this channel, in regards to the Judge Rothberg Educational Center, anything that also has to do with the troubled teen industry are going to be found conveniently there in the description box, along with some very obvious labels to make it a little bit easier to navigate. So if you'd like to read through some of these things we go over on the channel on your own, you absolutely should be able to go ahead and do so. Trigger warnings. When we discuss places like the Judge Rothberg Educational Center, God Bay Boarding School, Circle of Hope, or many of the plethora of too many places that are like this, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people's mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please utilize your headphones. Also, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity and very obviously speak on some dark topics. So, if your child's 16 and younger and watching this, parental supervision is advised. I apologize for kind of looking like crap today. But I'm kind of doing this right in the middle of the exercise routine, pardon me, so that when the storm hits, we can make sure we're not near any type of windows. So I do go again and apologize for that. I know I look opie, it's fine. So where we left off the other day was this little paragraph here. So I'm going to read the sentence leading up to it, also known as special level JRC word salad, and then we're going to read it and as usual tear it into shreds. So, last run-on migraine-inducing sentence. That is impossible here because both FDA has not revealed all the sources upon which it had relied, and because by definition under comment-only procedure, the interested parties have no ability to respond to all the evidence once it is in, let alone cross-examine the key witnesses that the FDA claims support the proposed plan. Thus, the D.C. Circuit Court observed that. Let me go ahead and stop you right there. What do you mean we haven't revealed our sources? Are you smoking crack? Down at the very bottom of the original final rule, right there, it provides all the sources that the FDA reviewed in regards to why they made the decision that they did around 2019. Literally listed out. We're in fact going to pull that up here in a moment. They literally listed all the services. They literally listed every single service person who came forward. They labeled every single clinical study that they used in regards to this case. They provided links and sources in regards to the ER documentation of injuries caused by the GED device. Links that have to do with what we saw was done to Andre McCollum's using the GED device. My God, what the hell else do you actually need at this point? Again, you need a unicorn hauling on like a wooden wagon, Jimmy Hoffa and an oil drum? Or at this point, do you need it to be Pegasus? Because, let's just pull it up. Because, God, this is annoying. Okay, let's get that pulled up, shall we? Let's see if I can find the original final rule. PDF, because I know we've gone over it. I don't want the comment, we want the actual. Ugh. There we are, final rule. Now, we are going to go all the way down to the bottom of this document. Alright, that is our last page. Let's scroll up, shall we? Well, would you look at that? You know what we're taking a look at, folks? This is the FDA citing all the various sources in regards to the evidence that they reviewed both for and against the GED device, all conveniently listed here, right after the final page of the FDA 2020 final rule to ban the GED device. You know what this shows? This shows that, as per usual, the JRC is lying. Anybody shocked? Anybody shocked at all? No? No? Good. Because the FDA has indeed revealed all the sources who contributed in regards to the decision that was made and passed down in the 2020 final rule ban in regards to the GED. You know what that means? JRC, as per normal, is lying. Okay? Because that is all the evidence that they relied on and cited in the final rule right there in the black and white that you and I just looked at. Okay? In regards to the comment-only procedure, allow me to reiterate, JRC. You already got your hearing. And may I remind you all, this is not a court case. Why they have this bizarre hard-on for cross-examination in regards to something that is not a court case is beyond me. Unfortunately, JRC, nobody is pushing charges against you. They should. They really, really should. But in regards to the topic at hand, that is not what's happening here. So, if you are not being taken to court, if you are not being accused of anything, why do you think you need to cross-examine the evidence here? And let me make another point. Again, the biggest one. We already had the hearing. You originally had from 2014 to 2016 to make your case in regards to the GED device being supposedly safe, efficient, non-invasive, and only used as a last resort. Throughout the entirety of those 2 years, your assertions crumbled before our very eyes. Like literally crumpled into a whole lot of dust and nothing. Your case was literally vanished in thin air, just like, the end of Infinity Wars. Okay? Just like that. Turned into the dust and blew away. Okay? That's what happened in regards to you not being able to prove in any way, shape, or form that would literally satisfy anyone that your device was what you said it is and used the way you say it was. And what happened when that was challenged? It was almost too easy to pick apart that case, JRC. Okay? You had a chance to not only prove your case and provide your evidence, you also had plenty of time to try and counter the evidence as presented from our side. Not only could you not do so, you very glaringly could not do so. You could not refute the cold, hard evidence our side put up. So then, your defense saying, but, you're intervening in medicines and Big Pharma the devil. I've seen more convincing arguments from South Park and the Chewbacca defense. Like, maybe you should resurrect Johnny Cochran to possibly be able to pull you out of your own mess of your own making. Okay? Because literally, the Chewbacca defense was more convincing than the way you tried and failed to challenge the evidence put up by our side. You had your hearing. You had your chance to push forward your so-called evidence. You had your chance to confront our evidence. You failed. Okay? Simple as. Simple as. For the love of God. But we want to cross-examine the key witnesses that the FDA claims support the proposed ban. You already did that. Must be a case of that selective memory loss that they have such a terrible terminal case of at the JRC, right? Yeah. You all already had your chance to try and do that. You failed. Embarrassing so. Miserably so. You failed so bad in regards to trying to do any kind of cross-examination for those who came forward from our end in regards to the ban, that you literally made Elaine Brednahoff look like a grade A power attorney. And I mean, that's a feat in engineering to make yourselves look more pathetic than that woman did on international television. If you make her look good in comparison, think long and hard in regards to your life decisions. I don't even know what to tell you there. Okay? You did cross-examine our experts. You did try to confront our evidence. You did have every opportunity to put forward your own evidence. You failed on every single front. And nobody owes you a do-over because you all have absolute inability to be able to defend what you all assert. You don't get to try again. You don't get 10 million mulligans just because you continue to fail at every single turn to be able to prove the words coming out of your mouth. Okay? Our nation does not owe you a do-over. The FDA does not owe you a do-over. The tax-paying people of the United States do not owe you, JRC, a do-over. Take a look around you. Nobody is going to allow you all to throw a fit like a toddler, all in an effort to take a whole bunch of taxpayer money and set it on fire while you fell all over the place again. Nobody has time for that. You got your chance, you failed. Suck it up. Okay? And maybe do some self-reflection in regards to the cause harm that you inflict that is so blatantly obvious and horrific that you literally have people that are like full mega militia cult-loving conspiracy theorists that are able to see what you're doing is evil, wrong, and quite the exact opposite of any real practice of medicine or mental health, or providing a reasonable education for those with developmental delays. Okay? You all are owed nothing. You had plenty of time. You didn't get the job done because you couldn't. You're trying to defend the indefensible and to prove the unprovable, because all you got is lies, and it falls apart at the very slightest bit of scrutiny. Okay? Alright, now we're going to move on to that sentence underneath. Now this is thus the D.C. Circuit Court has observed that even if credibility is not directly an issue, personal oral hearings are an effective way to eliminate misunderstanding and focus issues. Ambiguities which are not readily apparent on the face of a document can be disclosed and clarified with a few moments of oral exchange between the individual and the decision maker. What part of we've already been through this is so difficult for you all to understand? First off, anything that the DC Circuit says in that overturn of the 2020 ban is, as of right now, completely and utterly irrelevant to the conversation at hand. Congress went back and they amended the law so that the FDA does indeed have full authority to enact and enforce the ban as originally put forward under the final rule back in 2020. Okay? They have that full authority now. The only reason they are opening up the comments again is for reasons of transparency, to give both sides the chance to be able to comment before they finally enact the rule again. Okay? Just because they are reopening up comments as we get ready to reissue the ban doesn't mean that all of a sudden you get to argue that there needs to be another hearing. You have no new evidence. You have already tried and failed to cross-examine the experts that were brought forward during the original hearings that literally lasted 2 years in the beginning, and then even that time got extended all the way to 2019. This is unheard of. You think anybody else in regards to dealing with a federal department get that level of leniency? Think about it for a moment. Okay? Really think about it. The FDA does not owe you a do-over, JRC. And quoting the DC Circuit Court in regards to the judgment that they handed down in 2021 is completely and utterly useless and irrelevant, because now the FDA absolutely has the authority, as granted them by Congress, to enforce the ban, whether you agree with it or not. This is a courtesy. That is all it is. Okay? For you to be able to get each side to have a final say. The fact that you try to use this final say to demand something that you are not entitled to, a rehash something that's already been gone over, is completely insane. And I have to ask, who the hell do you all think you are? I mean, you got some balls, I'll give you that. Making a demand on the part of one of the departments ran by the federal government. But for the sake of all of us, because God, we're tired, JRC. We're so tired. Damn tired. Understand you're not going to get another chance. Understand that this is not a debate. This is giving you a chance to get some final words in. And for the love of God and all that's holy, would it kill you to actually act like it, instead of making us regurgitate all the same tired arguments that have already been ripped to shreds repeatedly for over the last 20 to 30 years? Accept the damn loss. That is my advice. Because the federal government does not owe you a do-over. Okay? And whining, crying, and throwing a fit like a toddler, and submitting your little double-speak victim-blaming nonsense, sending them the exact copy-paste you sent them when the proposed rule went out back around in 2014 is not making you look any better. We're going to go ahead and close on that one, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, if you could, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to get those comments. I do appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea absolutely do hope you have a good one. Pray for us. It looks like it's getting ready to be brutal here about an hour and a half. Bye-bye, everyone.